Good morning, loungers. So there have been a few updates in regards to the Brian Coulter case in Houston, Texas, along with Gloria Williams, the mother of the children who were found abandoned, and the child who was found dead in the apartment. Let's get into those details. So it turns out that the mother of the children actually has six children altogether. She lost custody of two daughters, the two oldest children, and those are two girls. One of them is with a family member for sure. The other one, I'm not quite sure. It's not clear where that child is located, but she did lose parental rights to those two children. There was some type of court order at some point that had intended to remove all four of the other children from her care. However, that never took place. And unfortunately, we now have a timeline of what has happened in this situation. It looks about between November 20th and 29th of 2020 is when the 8-year-old child was killed by by Brian Coulter, the boyfriend of Gloria Williams, which is the mother of the children that were abandoned. Um, so he killed the child around between November 20th and November 29th of 2020. And then about that much time went by between the mother moving out of the apartment and the boyfriend moving out of the apartment. They moved out in March of 2021 and moved into a separate apartment in a separate location. It does turn out that she had Section 8 or government assistance paying for the apartment that the children were living in, the abandoned children were living in with the corpse. So Section 8 or government assistance was paying for this property. Now, from what I know, when there is government assistance in a situation, generally there is an inspection at least once a year, and even more if there are issues that have come up. So I'm not quite sure how almost a whole year has gone by without there being any type of inspection or any type of questioning from the government assistance agency that was paying the rent, as well as from the management at this office or at the apartment complex. So I'm just really confused about why that would be happening. But I digress. Then it turns out that, some point a few days ago on Sunday, it turns out that the 15-year-old boy who was the oldest child that was in the house at the time, there are two older kids too, but there was a 15-year-old boy in the house at the time. He is the one that finally contacted his mother by text and let her know he just could not take this anymore. And he's the one that contacted police. The neighbors in the area are saying there was a couple of them. There was a gentleman, a man, and there was a woman. Both of them are saying that they were feeding the 15-year-old. As a matter of fact, the man said that he invited him in to kind of talk to him and kind of gauge what was going on. He really didn't want to get involved in calling the police, calling CPS, not knowing if there was really a problem. He said, but he did know that the child seemed disheveled at times and also was hungry. And so he wanted to give him food. But the child was always afraid of being poisoned. So he never would take food that was cooked already. He always wanted to have like fresh fruits that weren't open or a fresh salad from the store that wasn't open already or so forth and things like that, or something that the child could cook himself. He never wanted to take anything that was already cooked. I know that they had frozen pizzas and stuff, for instance, that they were giving him, and he would take that and cook that for himself and his younger brothers. But the neighbors weren't fully aware of there being two other siblings in the household. Um, he didn't make that clear. The child didn't make that clear. He was very evasive about things. And so this is kind of what we have right now of what has happened in this situation. It is still a developing story. As I get more information, I will release that to you guys. But I just wanted to give you guys an update on the information that I have found. And that is the timeline between what has happened from the time that the little boy was killed and to now and where we're standing now. The mother and the boyfriend are still currently in jail, and they will remain in there until either they make bond. Hers is $900,000, and his is $1 million, or something. They set trial and go to prison from there. Hopefully, justice will be swift in this situation. It is unfortunate that the 10-year-old child that was in the house had a broken jaw from Brian Coulter just a couple of weeks ago. A few weeks ago, he actually broke the child's jaw. And so now the child has to have reconstructive surgery at 10 years old at the hands of a 31-year-old man. I just can't understand. I particularly can't understand because it's a mother who has 6 children, and she allowed this man to come into these children's lives and abuse them. I can't understand, especially since there are family members who are coming forward now and talking about this. They said that they tried to contact her over the months. It was just some sisters. Her mother had tried to contact her. The sisters were even trying to gain custody of the children, and she would give them a very hard time in doing so. It was particularly because 2 of the children were getting disability checks, from what we understand, allegedly, based on the fact that they have autism. So they are 2 autistic children. One of the children was a dead child. The dead child was also receiving a disability check. So the mother was getting that check for that child plus another check for another child. I'm not going to disclose which child that is. However, she was getting disability checks for the children, and I think that was her motive for keeping the kids in her household. Even possibly the motive for the 15-year-old staying is to babysit the kids. But this mother is all over the place. She has a history of mental illness. She has a history of drug abuse. There's a history of just issues with her as a parent. She lost her parental rights to the other 2 children, the oldest children, which are daughters. And she's probably more than likely going to lose her rights to these 3 children that are living now. So it's unfortunate. It's sad. But yeah, parents have to do better. And good morning, Dee Darrell. How are you? Parents have to do better. Mothers have to do better. Fathers have to do better. There's a father to the youngest child that has been reaching out on Instagram and some other places, trying to gain attention, letting the world know that he and his mother have been trying to reach out to get a hold of his child. There's a couple of, I think there, so what I understand, there's 2 fathers involved with the 4 children. One of the fathers is deceased, and the other father is trying to get a hold of the children along with his family. So, trying to get them out of the system. So hopefully this will happen. Hopefully the children will be in proper care, will be at least with their father. The other 2 children whose father have passed away, hopefully they will be able to stay with Gloria's family. They seem like a very stable family, people that really care about the children. As a matter of fact, one of the family members already has custody of one of the children already. So hopefully we can get all of them put together, in the same household, or at least in the vicinity and around each other, so that the children still have each other. So yeah, that is the developments on this situation. As I hear anything else, I will let you guys know. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace. And thank you for watching.